What's up, everybody? I am Primordial One. Welcome to Primordial Soup. I have the pleasure of having Yardena on the show today, and she's stepping into the ship, and very excited for this. How are you? I know we just chatted a little bit, but how are you? Like, how have you been?
Well, first of all, beam me up. I'm ready. Um, how am I? Well, I'm good. Um, I've had a very eventful week, a lot of very cool connections with random people, mainly on Instagram. So I don't know. I feel like that's been making me feel better because, like most people, I struggle with the balance and feeling like I'm going on the app way too much and then getting distracted. So the fact that I've been able to make like deep connections that align with my spiritual journey is amazing.
you,
So,
you you say random, like random how, like you're meeting people,
hmm
you know.
random people that I've never met in real life, random people I'm referring to like in different states, different countries, even that have stumbled upon my page or vice versa. And, we see something that they post that we connect us, and then we DM and it ends up being this like connection. And yeah, I feel like my little spiritual family, like collective circle of like brujas is getting stronger, and it's been pretty cool, especially this week. So
Mm.
that's been fun.
All in that, all in the same kind of culture, same kind of style, like same kind of vibes? Are you meeting people that are into like what you study, what you practice, or just like people that are helping support, your candles too? Because and we'll touch
Yeah.
base into that as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about it is it's not there's obviously similarities in ways that we connect, that like the law of attraction, but once we dive deeper, we're kind of meeting parallel, like, and I mean,
Mhm.
instead of meeting parallel, we're meeting like adjacent to each other and still getting to the same point. But for instance, somebody I connected with who has like no sense of spirituality or is struggling with the idea of existential dread and what happens after we die. This person connected to me a few months ago, and now we're like friends. And they live all the way in Philadelphia, and we're on texting mode. And I think just like agitating each other in a healthy way, as far as arguments that are actually going to lead to something or make you reorganize your train of thought. And that's what I mean when agitating. So I kind of set out the intention, like, hey, if I'm going to post something, I hope to connect to somebody that will either make me reorganize my way of thought, or make me question it, or make me want to dig deeper on something. So yeah, there's definitely similarities, but not everyone who is into esoteric or tarot reading. There's so many different types of spirituality and journeys that you can go. So it's awesome being able to connect and find that common ground when we're coming from such different places. So
That's what's
that's
powerful about the internet,
yeah,
that it allows
yeah.
that to happen.
So it's been cool to even reorganize my relationship with the internet and with mundane apps like fucking Instagram, because I know I'm not the only one who like feels like a piece of shit when you're on there, and like I have my little alert on and it says, "Hey, you've been on Instagram for 2 hours." And I'm like, "It's only 10 a.m. What the fuck am I doing?" So it's nice to be able to not be so hard on myself and know that I'm still kind of working towards something, because those connections are priceless
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah, I know it's getting into that, like the hole, getting stuck
Yeah.
in the hole of the phone. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. I catch myself too doing that. But it's also a very powerful place. It can help
Yeah.
connect, and kind of push that message across and help
Yeah.
motivate people or be motivated by people.
Exactly. That's the main goal.
How long have you been practicing, tarot readings and just kind of being in that lifestyle?
So let's see. It's always been around me because of my grandma and my mom. Personally, I got my first tarot deck gifted to me when I was 16 from a friend.
Mm.
And, you know, at that point, I was getting all these magazines and flipping to the back and reading my horoscope. And all I ever knew was that I was a Pisces. And that was kind of the introduction. I remember reading like a Pisces horoscope and it just like hit, it like resonated. I'm like, holy shit, this is written just for me. And that was really my first introduction into astrology. And then the more like Bruja side is definitely influenced by my mom and my grandmother, which are both light workers. And I've always, and work with candles as well and the energies um, that come with candle rituals. But as far as tarot goes, I've been nonstop practicing since like pandemic started last year, like really diving deeper. And yeah, I gave myself a reading once I got furloughed, almost to the year, ago today. And I had a profound message and reading, and that's really what like catapulted everything. Um, it just really, yeah, it really shook me, that reading.
Yeah. And it's powerful to find something. I had my first reading, with you, and
Hmm.
I've always believed in it. I believe in spirituality. I believe in a higher power, God, no God, aliens. Um, we all came from something, and there is energy out there. You feel it. There's no way you can walk around this world and not feel some kind of energy from the moon, the sun, just everything around you, even people,
Hmm.
negative or positive energy. And even having that was an experience for me, just because it's powerful, to hear things and to play with cards. Has it impacted your life in a way that you've changed more? Like you talked about a reading that you gave yourself
100%.
a year ago, you
Yeah.
know. And when you
Um,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
no, you go.
Well, when you do your reading,
Hmm.
like what are your intentions that you put into something like that? Like if I had a reading, like when I did my reading with you, like
Hmm.
what's the work that goes into that?
So everyone does it a little different, but the basics for how I started reading, first of all, you always want to clear your space. Again, we talked about energies, and you can't deny that sometimes you're in a bad mood. If you've ever worked in customer service, you can feel people's energy if they're upset or happy or whatever mood they're in, right? So we've established that. So the same energy lives in our room, on your altar, literally everywhere that we are, there's energy, whether it's stale or good or bad. So anytime you want to do anything that is going to be calling on your ancestors or your guides, whatever you want to call them, you want to clear the space. So that's what I do. And what I set my mind to is kind of asking permission for them to open portals so I can get a clear message. And what that means is I'll take sometimes copal, sometimes I'll take sage. Um, I have a little bell to kind of clear the energy. Sometimes I'll even bump like sound bowls to kind of clear the stagnant energy. It really depends on the day. Sometimes I feel like my sage bath isn't enough, so I'll have to um mop the floors with cold water because the cold raises the vibration. Um, and there's also little things like that my grandma taught me. There's actually a lot of spiritual healing properties with vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And that's, something I'm leaning more like sustainable green. I've been vegan for a few years. So I think with my journey, I try to implement that as much as I can. Um, but yeah, just really cleansing the space is step one, centering yourself and making sure that are you can't do anything if you don't set your mind to what you're going to do, right? You can't just be like, I'm going to do this. Like when anything we do, we're like, we're going to get in our car, we're going to put the key in, and then we're going to drive our asses to work. It's kind of the same thing with spirituality. You have to focus. You got to, for instance, for yours, I looked at your birthday. I have this little birthday book. So what I do is if we're friends on Instagram, I like having your picture up so I can just tune into you. Sometimes I text people and say, hey, like, I'm going to do your reading right now. So if you want to light a candle or ground, um, you're more than welcome to do so. It's not mandatory or anything. I also like, so asking for permission and then tuning into the person from pictures to looking up. For me, your birth chart gives me a little bit more insight as far as like what transits are happening right now. And then once I feel like I've fully grasped your essence, I kind of get, for me personally, when I know spirit is communicating, I get hot. Like my face gets hot. I start like even talking about it right now. I feel I cleanse the space of my room, and I did a little gratitude ritual. So I can show you a picture, but I have some candles going right now because I'm just so grateful for this communication going on. And this is really the first time where anyone's been interested to ask me this whole process. So I mean, it's cool to like finally talk about it and not be like ashamed to let people know this side of me.
Yeah.
Uh,
It that shame part is kind of, it's hard. I think we carry that, sometimes we're scared of like doing things,
mhm.
being our true self sometimes because in fear of like what people may think if they don't know, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know I've struggled with that a lot, and it's something we talked about before. You talked about how you're really trying to like do things, you're really trying to be out and be your true self in every way. And I think this whole last year has really been something that's really pushed that, right? For
Yeah, definitely. I
y-
mean, talking from the pandemic to even just my, spiritual journey aside, I just, it's just been what you said. Yeah, I'm completely a different person in the sense of like whatever ego I was stuck in or whatever journey I thought I had to complete because I set these limitations, like it's your own mind against you, and I think
yeah.
once you start to go inward and really be get down to the nitty-gritty of our inner demons and we face them, um it helps. And I also thank mushrooms for that too. And
Yeah.
with the and it's even my relationship with marijuana, I stopped drinking too because I felt like it was just asked for me for spirit. It was just getting in the way of my readings and my messages that I was getting. And even my relationship with weed is changing. Every bowl I'm like sprinkling it to the right, because when you do things to the right, you are drawing on in the attention. And if you want to cleanse, you want to do it to the left. So it's all these little things. I swear everything I do is a mini ritual. I
Wow.
try to put so much intention in everything. And I think before I was feeling so silly last year, and now it's getting to the point where all of these little things that I do, I'm starting to see like I feel like my guides are literally like, good job. Like we see the work you're doing. And even just this, like, remember when you first approached me about being on your podcast? I was like, oh my God, why? Like, this sounds horrible. And today I woke up like looking forward to it. And I was just like, I couldn't wait. So, that was even a month ago, right? Like, when I
Yeah.
gave you a reading. So, you see, like, if you do the work and you get down to the nitty gritty of yourself, whether you're into angels or spirituality or you're not, like, self enlightenment is key. And I think it's just like, you can lie to other people all you want, but you're always going to know the nitty gritty of yourself. So why would you want to put yourself in that position, which is something I personally did for so long. And it's just, it's bigger than us too. It's the system. It's where we grew up. It's our culture. It's so deeply embedded that, I think we have a hard time as humans, like detaching that because we feel so it's so deeply embedded within our genetics that it's hard to call it out because then we feel like we're calling each other out. But
Yeah.
we do need that. Like we do need to recognize that what we've been taught is so wrong. So
Yeah.
it's like the process of learning and unlearning and then readjusting that. So it takes so much time. I feel like a fucking baby. I feel like this is the very beginning of my journey. And yeah, I just feel like a life student. Like I just want to clone my brain right now and like learn so many things that I've been putting aside or that I've been doubting, doubting your own power. And then now that I'm more tapped in, it's just like like the floodgates are open.
It's like who we were 10 years ago, it's so different, and we're growing up and we're changing and everything's just evolving in our minds. And I'm in the same boat, and I agree with that so well because I'm in that place of my life where it's like I'm finally comfortable with who I am. Not acting, I'm not that I was acting, it's just, a little background on me. I was married for almost 12 years. I was in a relationship, right? And I found myself, and now I'm going through a divorce, but I found myself unhappy with my life. Work was getting stagnant, and I was not in a place. I didn't want to be married, and I didn't know how to get out of it. Like I just didn't know how to get out of it. I felt like I was stuck. You
Mhm.
know, like I liked the person, I love the person, still have love for that person, always will. You know, big part of my life was with them, and they helped me grow up a lot too. They, you know, unfortunately, the growing up process was during the marriage, but I stayed in a relationship because I didn't know how to get out of a relationship, and it wasn't as easy as just like breaking up.
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't as easy as like, oh, we should. It's you're married. You know, legally, there's these things that are binding you together. You know,
Right.
assets and all these different things. So, you know, this is the first time in my life that I'm like, wow, I am the most content with who I am right now. Like, I am very happy. I'm spiritually, I'm embracing the energies that I see. My confidence has changed with the way I approach people for the show, and you
Mhm.
know, learning how to do this is all is it's just I've always wanted to do something, and it's amazing once we get to that point.
Yeah.
When you walk around your life, you know, you say how like you do things a certain way now, right? You're so in
Mhm.
tune to the way you do your processes. Like, is it hard sometimes carrying knowledge of energy? Like I always say that a conscious
Yeah.
mind, a conscious person will always struggle
Mhm.
because like we see the injustice, we see the hurt, we see all these things
Yeah.
and we feel it.
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss. Like I hate that quote because it's not to me. But going back to your question, it is hard. It is hard because at the end of the day, I think tarot readers or spiritual people or mediums, they a lot of people forget that we're just fucking human too. And I had a reading done by my very good friend Matt, who's a magician and was working at the Magic Castle for a long time and is now at the Bearded Lady Museum in LA. So if you're ever there, check him out. He's amazing. But he's been doing readings and tarot for so long, and his approach is not spiritual at all. So it was very interesting to get a reading done by him. He's more into numerology and he does all these cool things and is very, very well rounded with like the occult and esoteric studies. But it's just awesome because we had this profound conversation and it's just like we can't like when I was explaining to you, we're coming like this. And I think like it is hard to turn it off because there's some days where you just don't you wish you wouldn't have messages, you know, or you wish you didn't know that. But once you know things or once you think see, it's hard to turn off too. And I think I'm finally accepting that this is my path. I think I've turned it off for so long due to fear, due to my insecurities, due to also being stuck in places where I thought I belonged, but I weren't for me. And yeah, like you, I feel like there's nothing that has made me feel so secure the way I do now. And it's too loud for me to ignore. So that in itself has been the little grain that keeps me going every day. Do I get overwhelmed? All the fucking time. Do I doubt my fucking power? Almost every day. But I think like ping ponging back and forth every day. I when I go to bed, it's just like I take each day as a lesson, and even that doubt I had in the morning turns into some other message that I needed to hear. So it's it's been really hard, and me also getting out of a breakup around the end of last year was it was just all came crashing down on me, and I was I kind of pivoted down from the spiritual high. So I think like equipping yourself when you're feeling really good is crucial and key. And that's something that I've been doing with tarot, astrology, and even working out. I mentioned I was doing Pilates now, and like all those little things. I think you just need to like get disciplined and give yourself that fucking attention with it, which is something new for me. I'm always the one who's overextending myself for everybody else. And it's something that even in the beginning of tarot readings, I was doing like 8 readings a day and I was on my computer like for 8 hours and it was the worst thing ever. So again, like being okay that you fucked up, reevaluating, and then starting again um, has been a journey. But yeah, I don't know. I can't turn it off. It definitely sucks some days. There's things that I'm learning to better manage energies, like even black obsidian, everyone needs a black obsidian. It's just like the grasper of all the energies, and I cleanse it every day. And ever since I got this, it's just like I feel less drained when I talk to people, because it does take a lot, just like speaking and communicating and sharing that energy. So, trying to manipulate that to boost yourself, and then learning your limits on when it's okay to be like, okay, you're overextending yourself. You want to help this person, but right now you can't help them the way you want, because then you're going to deplete yourself. I think that's been my hardest lesson.
How do you stop yourself? Like, how do you, how do you say no to something? It's hard for me too. I struggle with that all the time. I'm always helping and I'll always help. And then it's just,
Hmm.
but then when I need help, no one's ever really there. The people are
Yeah.
there, but it's not the same way I am. But
Yeah.
how do you stop? It's
Honestly,
so
I'm still
hard.
learning. I've become way more vocal. I've just like setting the boundaries has been the biggest theme. Um, and also being self accountable when like, for instance, I set a boundary with somebody, and I had to reinstate those boundaries because they were asking for more than I was available to give. And that's not something I would have ever done. So I literally text somebody, and then I fucking throw my phone for 2 hours because I don't even want to look at their response, because I'm afraid of the rejection or whatever the fuck they're going to say. And yeah, I've had my fair share of people who are like, wow, you're fucking weird. Like, I don't want to talk to you, which is cool, because at the end of the day, we're dodging bullets. I don't need
Yeah.
that person in my life. I don't want their energy. You're a succubus. Like, no, thank you. And then, on the other spectrum, I've had people who are just like, holy shit, your vulnerability has inspired me to be more vulnerable. And you're right. And I think, you know, it's not a good idea that we talk. So thank you for doing this. And it's just like, just healthy things and it's hard, and it depends on the situation and the person, definitely. But I don't know. When I say I feel like a baby, it's like that. Like, I'm learning to stand up for myself again. Not that I like will not stand up for myself, but you know what I mean? Like, in a more healthy, communicative way, where like, okay, we've established we don't agree, but can we still reach a common ground?
Yeah. Even
Uh,
setting boundaries up, like you said, like,
yeah.
all right, like, this is, I can't do this. Like,
Hmm.
and that's been a big thing for me with COVID. Even I think right before COVID, I think when I ended the relationship, I knew that if I was going to embrace any new relationship, I couldn't make the same mistakes anymore.
Right.
I couldn't make mistakes with my life, and setting up boundaries to protect myself, and I've never done that. And I think by doing that, I really created an atmosphere that I felt safe in.
Hmm.
And that was something new to me. But, a lot of us don't know what boundaries are, and we don't know how to set boundaries up. And it takes practice, I guess, to learn how to get to that point.
It really does, because even now, like, setting them up and like writing them down is one thing, and then actually like verbally saying them is one thing, and then staying true to that. Because I feel like for a while, one of my friends called me out. She's like, God, you use boundaries and boundaries, and your boundaries this and boundaries that, but then when I see you engage with someone, you say that you don't want them to do this, but then they step all over you. And it really, like, it kind of shook me that she said it so casually. And I was like, you know what? You're fucking right. So what I was missing was my self accountability. Because just because you set boundaries up doesn't mean they're going to stay there by
Yeah.
yourself. We are the foundation of wherever that fucking fence is. So if this is mud, that fucking wall is going to fall. So it definitely is like, it's hard because, some days we don't want to extrude that energy, but we kind of have to, and we have to like keep reminding ourselves that no, this is what is going to take me to the next level in life, or continue to um get me closer to my highest self, is what I tell myself, or whatever you call it, self enlightenment or contentment, happiness, whatever it is that you're striving for. um I think a lot of people forget that it's like, we're human and we make our own choices, and the only thing we can't control is our fucking self. So control it, like, try. Obviously there's other things that can factor that, trauma and all these, so it is a hard thing to go through, but I think as as long as you start and get true with yourself, then that's like, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Try to listen to yourself.
Yeah. And then, we fall victim to that. Like, it took your friend calling you out
Hmm.
for you to really say, like, oh yeah, that is, but you probably already knew that too, though,
I
you know,
did.
and
And
it
it's
was,
funny because you catch yourself like wanting to, at least me, I caught my old self wanting to come out and be defensive, but it was just like my white flag went up and I was like, I couldn't, there's nothing I could say because she was 100% right. So what was I going to do at that moment? Was I going to continue to lie to myself? No. Like, I also think turning 30 changed. Like between 27 and 29, you go through something called a Saturn's return. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
No.
but we go through about 2 a year, usually between your 27 and 29. And then again, when you're about like 55 to 60. So it's pretty profound ages. That's like when we're considered seniors. And then this is when we're considered like, you're kind of out of your 20s and into your 30s. You're going into your Jesus age, which is like 33 of self-enlightenment. So I actually, looking into horoscopes and my birth chart, I found out that when a pandemic started last year was the peak of my Saturn's return. So it makes so much sense that I did a complete 180 as far as like where I was mentally. I'm with you. I feel like this is the first time where I'm like content where my brain is heading. Obviously, there's still things that annoy me about myself, but like instead of just being like, oh, you're so dumb, I'm kind of like, wait, this is dumb. You need to work on it, readjust it, write it down, meditate on it, do whatever, but like actually commit because I don't know, I'm just tired of letting myself down. And I think it took a long time for me to admit that at the end of the day, yes, I've probably made some bad choices in letting manipulative people in my life, but at the same time, like I let it happen for so long. So I think admitting that to myself and then reclaiming that has helped me tremendously and just keep, not being not falling into depression again, because that's always a thing.
Yeah, mental health is always going to be something.
Exactly.
So you recently relocated, right? You
Yeah.
used to be in LA and now you live in
I
San
live in San
Diego.
Diego. Uh-huh.
How's that been for you? How's that change?
Honestly, okay, so when I first moved, I kind of got here. So I was born in Orange County, and when my parents split up when I was really young, my whole life I've lived between San Diego and LA. So it's very normal for me to jump back and forth. Um, I moved back because there's this opportunity that rose with the place I'm at, and it just worked. But when I first was here, I definitely got that feeling of like FOMO and like, what the fuck am I doing? It's not as diverse as LA. It's not as like busy and fast paced as LA. And I think I missed that chaos part. But it wasn't until, my ex finally got out and he left, and I had to completely get down to the nitty gritty of like what I was personally putting myself through at that moment. Um, it really just like San Diego is right for me right now. I definitely don't see myself like living here forever, but as far as where I'm at in my journey, um, I think it was inevitable for it to happen. I feel more calm here. It's the first place where I can walk to a cafe. It's the first time where I have a little patio, just like little things, I think it also goes with like growing up, but the fact that I have a park right behind me means so much to me. And I've never had that. And yeah, and you know how expensive LA is to get any kind of spot like that. I think I just lucked out. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. Feeling very grateful for it.
It's like what you needed, it's
Exactly.
your life took you where you needed to be.
Yeah. And it's funny because I felt like I was going in autopilot when I was making all the arrangements for moving. It kind of felt like I wasn't doing it, if that makes sense. And now that I do my Bruja shit, it's just like it makes so much sense. It was bigger than me. It was my angels literally being like, we get it, you don't want to go, but it's going to be good for you. And now I finally see it like this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah,
right
like
now.
your body was like, all right, I'll do all the paperwork for you. Don't worry
Mhm.
about it. I mean, just you'll appreciate it when you get
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very for you, I guess it's some, like you said, you live in between. Traveling wasn't the big thing, but even leaving the city like this, and leaving all the friends that come with the city and
Yeah.
the lifestyle. But I guess COVID kind of helped with that, just because everybody was at home anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
COVID helped a lot with me just like sitting by myself, losing my job. I've had a job since I was a sophomore. So for me to not work like that and leaving a management position, you know, It was hard. It was very hard to it shook me up. My whole like the relationship with money, the what my idea of value and my purpose, like I it really like I needed it. It was like the tower. I don't know if you've seen the tower tarot card, but like the foundation was so weak that I was just not I'm the kind of person that I can't do anything if I'm not like connected to something. So I loved managing the tea room, but at the end of the day, it was just a tea room. It was never going to be my tea room. I was never going to be able to add my own essence to something. And I've finally realized that the only way I'm going to thrive is if I add my own essence to something. Um, so I don't know. It just going back to money and like trying to figure out how to fucking survive without a traditional job, something that I've never done. I've always been the girl who's working full time or working two jobs or fucking hustling the way she can. And I think now that idea is like so much, it's changed. Um, and even money, like I heard this story. So I don't know if you know what Reiki is.
I know what Reiki is. That where they channel energy, right?
Yes, it's
I've
like an
had
energy cleansing.
I've had a Reiki circle before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was supposed to go to one this morning, but my cat got sick, so I couldn't make it for to the 10 o'clock. But um, so Reiki was taught in Japan or is taught in Japan for free. And one of the first Reiki practitioners was a woman back in like the 30s or 40s. She came to the United States to offer her service for free. Everyone was like, who the hell is this weirdo lady talking about free energy, right? People were talking shit. So then she starts charging money. People start going to her, they start seeing the help that the Reiki. And so the way she prices things, the first session was free, the second session was $500, the third session was 10 grand. This guy comes back for his third session and he's like, why is it so expensive? Like, you weren't even charging anything in Japan. And what she said was, you know, your kind of people don't value anything unless money is attached to it. And that just, I still want to dig deep on it, but I'm bringing it up because maybe you have something to say on that. But it just really like blew my mind. Like, money and the idea of value is so deeply ingrained in our that even hearing that was like, yeah,
Mhm.
she's fucking right. It doesn't even matter how much she charges. It's just the fact that she charged, that fact drew people into her to this beautiful gift where it's like she's gifted, and but no one ever paid attention to her until they saw the fucking price tag. So it makes me sick that we place value on higher priced things than something that could be free, like a Reiki session where you can actually feel the fucking change. So I think, yeah, I'm still struggling with that, honestly. It's from pricing my candles to pricing my services to recognizing that this spiritual work is work and it does take a lot from me, and accepting that people come to me for my advice. I just think I'm learning how to like put a price tag on that, because in my perfect world, I would burn all the fucking money and just talk about tarot all day for free, But unfortunately, I need to survive and fucking feed my cat, and I can't do that in the world we're living in today.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm having a really weird relationship with money. Like I've always had, but now it's like on a deeper level where like, where can I turn this around where I can still survive, not take advantage of people, be sustainable, and, bring awareness into the world. I think it's a lot, but I feel like together and the more we talk and these podcasts and things like that, we can get there. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but like eventually, as long as I can help pave the way or inspire one person, then I feel good.
That's the impact that we can leave on this world. I think it's just even if you just inspire one person to
Yeah.
change their day or their life or their perspective. I used to always feel helpless, and I used to just like look at the world and be like, man, we're so fucked, and then you let the media and all these things kind of make you feel worse, and the government. But then I keep meeting people and all my friends, and I'm just like, no, we're not fucked. Like, there's so many great people out there doing great things,
Hmm.
finding that ambition, finding that, having that little extra push that help them just elevate their lives. They're good people, they're conscious people. And so it's always like that, at the light at the end of the tunnel, that I think we will all motivate each other in some way somehow. And I think everybody was motivated by somebody when they met. Every time I talk to somebody, like talk to my friend Jaime. He was on the show. He's the artist Sobre 13, and him being influenced by his friend's dad on veganism and like being vegan and conscious of like what you put into the body, that influenced him and changed his whole life. You
Yeah.
know, and it's always a beautiful thing, you know. And I love seeing people kind of grow and change. You know, I met you. We met through a mutual friend,
Hmm.
and didn't really know anything about you. You know, I knew who you were, and that's it. Like we met through Charles, and the more I've gotten to know you, because you know it's still fairly new friendship, like
Yeah.
the fact that we talk and everything like that. I just see, I've seen, you give off energy, you know, and I think we've all changed, right? We weren't who we were before,
Hmm.
and I think that's why sometimes it's beautiful when we allow people to like flourish and accept
Hmm.
them from who they are. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of us don't let each other change. Our own friends don't let us change.
Hmm.
Our own friends think of us as who we were a year ago or so. You know, it's hard for us to
Yeah.
kind of grow up and change. And in COVID, even that statement with the lady who taught Reiki, it's like we put a price tag on everything, our
Yeah.
friendships, on our lifestyles. Like, you know, we're not interested until we're interested, you know. But
Right.
it take, you know, and I think this year alone, or the year prior to this with COVID, it really woke me up to like my friends and lifestyle changes. But enough about me. So I know now you're in San Diego and you talked about candles,
Hmm.
and how's that going for you? Like you say you've been in candles for a while, right? You are a candle maker.
I'm a candle maker. I first started dabbling with my like making my own intentional spiritual candles last year during the pandemic. And since then, it's kind of flourished into a two-person group or company or project. It's me and my roommate. So her and I have been working since I moved last year and like a few months ago. So it's still a very fresh project, but yeah, we connected and we're making candles, and we have yet to drop our official like line because it's a process. The enthusiasm and excitement's there, but I think we get excited, or at least for me, I get excited about things and then I realize like don't rush things. It's better to marinate, let it come out the way it should be organically. And yeah, it's been fun. So the idea is we're going to do custom scented candles, and they're all intentional. We also are going to release some ritual candles, which are going to align the first one that we're going to release is for spring equinox. So that is something that will be posted. And then I'm going to post a corresponding like ritual or spell if you wanted to do it on the spring equinox. But otherwise, you know, it's just a scented candle too, if you're not really into energy or spirituality as well.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. We got some collabs. One of my homies owns a coffee shop here called Tired Eyes, and I approached him about maybe creating some candles for them. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on next week. So if everything works well, then he said that he would carry our candles. So I would love to do more things like that. Co-create with I know so many amazing creatives and friends that are doing all kinds of different art, and like asking them if they want to like team up and bust out a custom scent candle or something, just because it's so fun and I fucking love candles.
Yeah, that's rad. That's amazing. You know, it's like you're learning how to just make it. You know, you've always have. You know, from what I see, it's that hustle in you. It's just like, especially being a creative as well. That's cool. I'm very excited to see them. I've seen some pictures on social media, like little things, and they look
Yeah,
amazing. They look great.
thank you so much. I
Yeah.
think also it means so much that you okay, so I'm not lame, but I've always considered myself a fangirl. So it's taken me a long time to call myself a creator or a maker or an artist because I've never viewed myself that way. And it's something that I'm still learning to embrace. So yeah, it just feels good when because so many of my friends are like, you're dumb, you're an artist, you're creative. And I'm like, okay, thanks. But finally like knowing that and stepping into it and being like, yeah, you know what, this is what I do, I'm an artist, like, because I've always it's something that I've always like, you know, when you grow up and you're like, what do you want to be? Like me, I literally wanted to be an artist. So it's like remembering that even just through journaling, I forgot I told that to myself. So it like, I feel like I'm honoring the true essence of Yardena when she first came into the world. And now here I am. So it's cool. Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah, of course. I know. I think I started. So I started like dabble in music and DJ, and I've always been like in the head. My head thinks about a lot of things. I'm always like making screenplays in my head. Never put them on paper, but I'm always thinking of scenarios or stories. And I'm like, I'm an artist, and I've always called myself an artist because I am an artist. I think anyone that creates anything is an artist. You know,
You're
even
right.
putting this together, you're an artist. Like, you know, we live a life and we see things so differently than most people do, and you can see the difference between people that live a black and white lifestyle, and you see all of us just out and around. You know, that's what always gives me hope when I see people, because it's nice to see that there's so many people out there just doing things, and
Yeah.
the fear is
Honestly, it
always
keeps me
there.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the fear factor is always there, though. You know, it's that
definitely.
that fear of failing. um with your rituals and things like that. How is that now with everything that's going on, like your social life, everything? Like, has that been, are you connected with a lot of your friends still, or has it changed?
Um, it's definitely changed. I'm grateful for like my core group of friends, but I remember even in the beginning of last year, having that awkward like, "Hey guys, I want to tell you guys something," and feeling so nervous. Obviously, they know me, they know I fuck around with all this shit, but like really sitting them down and being like, "No, this is what I kind of want to devote my life to," and opening up that way. Um, yeah, so obviously they're my core friends and they've accepted me and they're amazing, but yeah, it has changed. I feel like the change is more within me. I'm more selective on who I even allow um to hang out or in my energy bubble. Obviously the pandemic has obviously, affected that, but even as far as like I was always the girl who's like, "Yeah, we're going to hang out. We're going to hang out." And now knowing that I would never hang out with you, and I felt like that's just like not good energy like coming back. So now I'm better at like saying, "You know what? Thank you so much." And I'm sure we would have a good time, but I just don't have room to hang out with you right now. And I feel like I sound like a bitch, but it makes me feel better that I'm not like giving this white lie or false hope of like, yeah, we're going to hang out one day. Cause that to me is worse. I'm the kind of person that remembers things like that. And I'm be like, fuck that girl. She told me she was going to hang out with me and she never did. So I'd rather be like, hey, that girl, I try to hang out with her, but she's a little too busy right now. But she told me, to me, that just like is better in my mind. So that's kind of what I'm trying to like do. Like, again, boundaries and stay with them.
It's so hard though to say,
It's so
like,
hard, trust me. I still find myself being like, "Yeah, girl, we're gonna hang out," and then I don't. But I
yeah,
think it's like learning how to like. I'm sure for you're still working your normal job. You're doing your podcast thing. It's like time management is not my strong point. Even with my candle business partner right now, we kind of like, she works too, and getting to the point where like, okay, we need to commit days because yesterday we were gonna do something, and then my cat something happened, so it's like treating it like a real job because I would never not do my job if I worked a 9 to 5. Again, it's that connection. Why do I work harder for somebody else knowing that I'm on this thing rather than for myself? So it's just like that relationship with money, having it deeply embedded within us. Why is it easier for us to do something for the fucking white man, you know what I mean, than to for ourselves? So I think it's also like, wait, I need to take a step back. You're right. I need to be more disciplined on the energy I give to this if I want it to flourish.
yeah,
So,
but those are some strong facts. It's I'm in the point of my life where it's like, I work for the man.
mhm,
I work for in production, and it's not as creative as I thought it was going to be. I got stuck in this job on this show that just gives me work all the time, so it's like hard to leave.
mhm.
You make a fair wage, so it's like it's really hard to leave when it's like, yeah, it's a 9 to 5. A lot longer than 9 to 5, but I don't know, you're motivating me to just say, you know what, I need to focus things in something else. And yeah, it's hard work, and it's true, it's like that time management. Like I have to ask people, hey, would you like to chat on my show?
Yeah.
I don't just ask randoms. Like I really start thinking and looking at people, and I'm like, and then wearing that hat and then having to like get everything set up, all these things. It's hard to find a balance.
Yeah. I
And
mean, it's an everyday struggle, I think.
it is, and we all go through it. I ride a bike to work. That's how I get to work. I try to be as sustainable as possible. And I've been doing it for a very long time. And I see the hustle and bustle from people all around us, like on every day, like people on the train, people on the bus, people walking to work, and people
Hmm.
even driving to work. And it's just like we're all so programmed. And I don't think a lot of those people ever take a time to just like take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I,
And they don't. And I
yeah.
think like if anything, for instance, I know I'm a spiritual person. I know I do tarot. Um, I don't think this is like what I'm going to do. I definitely see myself like being more engaging with people, even going back to school, so I can connect more like psychology to it all and make more sense to esoteric, make connections of things I can't explain to things I can explain. Because I know not everyone believes in angels or whatever.
Yeah.
But on that point, it's just like finding, wait, I lost my train of thought about sustainability and like going back to our relationship with money and value and um fear. I don't know, it's just like it's definitely be easy on yourself. I feel like I romanticize everything. I need to get more down with reality and realize like I still need money to survive. So like definitely don't just up and quit your job. But yeah, I
Sounds
was
good
having a
tomorrow.
convers I was having a conversation with my friend, who is very much stuck in their corporate lifestyle. And something tragic happened this week where it brought us closer, and it kind of made him reflect on his what kind of friend he was being to us. And he approached me and apologized and said that he realizes that he has abandoned his essence, and he's so stuck and hyper focused on getting onto that next corporate ladder that he's forgetting himself. Even like he's like, I haven't even played drums in forever, I haven't even played a record in forever, and he's a fucking record freak, like vinyl collector. So that's what hurts me. It's like, because I've been there, I know what it's like to fucking get lost and be stuck in this like routine of shit, and to make money and to hustle, do whatever we need to do. But I don't know, I feel like, when you get to this point of when you're so happy and you just want to share that and like have your friends be that, that's kind of where I'm at. And I hate that it just like I don't have more of things of value, like money value, that I can give, but like this is what I got, and it's working for me right now. So I'm like, just try it a little bit, just
Yeah.
even if it just means like you're gonna wake up and I'm just thankful that I'm alive today. Little things. If you open yourself up and they listen, and you listen, like you will start to receive. It's the law of attraction. You put it out there, it'll come to you. You make a resume, you work hard on your resume, you're going to get the job. You go to school to become a doctor, you're going to be a doctor. It's like the same thing. I think spirituality or tarot and all that gets more of a bad rep because it's so hard to explain. But the way we've gotten to the medical research is the same way astrologers have created the whole system of astrology. It's all data and research, and people fucking up and then rewriting those mistakes and then discovering new things. And the same way you have faith in a doctor is, you go to a doctor and you have faith in them. You have faith that this person knows enough about whatever medicine or whatever is going on in your body, that whatever medicine you're going to take it with faith, knowing that it's going to cure you. That's kind of how I approach spirituality and spiritual people. Of course, there's always going to be the kooks who are going to try to take advantage of you, but there's also going to be the good doctors who are like, what do you have in your pocket? Give me that and I'll cure you. You know what I mean? Like it's the same for everything. And I think people just shit on it more because it's easier to make fun of.
Yeah, you have the whole idea of like a tarot reading, and then you have the ball, and then people look at it, like how it's, shown on TV, and you
Yeah,
see
Miss
in
Cleo shit.
yeah, and especially even like being Latino,
Yeah.
the whole Bruja mentality and like, oh, it's always like a bad thing.
Yeah. Trust me, it was
It's
very intimidating.
yeah, but the idea of it is a lot more complex. And with anything, there's always a good and a bad. There's good
Hmm.
doctors, there's bad doctors. There's obviously good, witches, and there's bad witches.
Yeah.
That's what the energy comes into play. But yeah, for
Yeah.
me, it's always been something that I've never dabbled with, just because I didn't know, and then what I did know of it was always a negative thing.
Right. And
Like
honestly, me too. It was always connected to my relationship with a organized religion was shattered. There was a point in my life where I was a devout Christian and I got baptized, and my dad's actually pastor. So imagine doing that and then getting introduced to bands like AFI, who completely rocked my world, changed my life. And that's kind of when I got more into the alternative like goth styles. So even now, like it's so funny to me that my messages come the loudest through angels, and I work with angels. And you know I remember last year making that connection with one of my mentors, um you know not believing and not wanting to accept that archangels were coming to me to tell me something. Why? Because I was wearing a fucking devil shirt, I was wearing all the fucking shit that I like, music related, um little fucking aesthetic art. Like I have I do like flory girly shit, but I love like fucking demons and like other kind of art too. So I just thought that I was never gonna be like, why would angels fuck with a person who doesn't fuck with angels at that point, so it was hard for me to accept the love. And it just proved to me that at the end of the day, we are protected, whether you call it an angel or your grandma looking after you or God or the universe. If you really listen, they're going to be there for you. And it's changed my life. Accepting making that acceptance to myself, and then connecting with other like-minded people. There's this my other goth ass friend, she's like, oh my god, this is a connection I made on Instagram. We ended up having the same birthday, we both have the same archangel Michael, and then she lives down the fucking street. We're like supposed to meet in a couple weeks, but we made this connection literally on the day that we both were setting up our altars for Archangel Michael, our patron saint. And I just felt so drawn to her. And I finally asked her, when's your birthday? We had the same birthday. She lived down the street, all these like fucking connections. And even making that connection of like, I never thought Archangel Michael was my patron saint, because why would an angel come to me? I was expecting some crazy like fucking demon thing. And yeah, here we are, like connecting on fucking angels. And then also letting go of the idea that it's attached to a Catholic or organized religion.
mhm.
That's very important to me, because I think for a while I blocked myself from that because everything was so attached to religion, which I'm not for.
Oh, I didn't even know your dad was a pastor.
Yeah. So
That's
it's interesting. My dad, he's more. I've recently started to sprinkle things about what I do. He knows I do tarot. He knows I'm very spiritual, and it's cute because now I think at first he kind of would make fun of me for it, but we have these great discussions where I'll read the Bible with him, and that Bible verse I'll make a connection to tarot or numerology. And I don't ever see myself going to church or being a Christian, but like there are some things in the Bible that are like, yeah, they make a good point. Like it's all so connected. Like it's
mhm.
all so fucking connected that it's just research for me at this point. How am I I'm never gonna know the extent of what I'm studying if I don't go approach all angles kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Educate yourself in every way. So
Yeah, my dad instilled that in me. You can't have an argument if you don't know both sides. Because then you just sound like a fucking idiot and you're only talking through your emotions, and that's not a proper debate, I guess.
it's
It's
uh,
just a
it's it's a powerful thing. I think when parents instill that into us, I think it's important how parents play a big factor in our lives growing up. Your dad. So your dad's always been a pastor.
no. Mm-mm.
Oh,
He was reborn, I don't know, over 10 years ago. He's
mm.
definitely party LA boy when I was
Yeah,
born. Yeah. So he's
yeah.
had his own journey. Yeah. He struggled with addiction, and it's something that really like turned his life around. So again, to me, I think before I judged him because, oh, my dad's a Christian, but now I see is like at the end of the day, my dad's a very spiritual person, and this spiritual journey for him that happens to be Christianity helped him elevate his life in every single aspect. So, I mean, I can't be mad at that. Do we agree on everything? Hell no. Will we? No. But that's okay. Like we, you know, we can still collab
Yeah.
and like agitate each other in a healthy way.
Yeah, always. That's the beautiful part about life and having, your family and your circle. It's we're not always going to get along with each other, but we'll always help each other no matter what, and build each other and learn from each other and argue with each other. But
Oh yeah.
what do you have in the bag? Is that Adam and Eve behind you?
Yeah, so this is actually Adam and Eve. It's the Lover's card, but you can't really
Mm.
see the thing. So in tarot, you have something called your birth tarot cards, and it kind of describes your predilections that you're going to have throughout your life. And usually it coincides with numerology, and mine are the Lovers and the Devil. So those are kind of like, and it makes a lot of sense. To give you a little snippet, the Lovers is more of a personal card. So seeing things, basically like accepting things for how they are, for your true essence, like think self-love. And then the polarity of the Devil is like you are you're attached to materialistic things. So my internal struggle is always going back and forth of um overextending myself, which could be like I'm trapping myself, entrapment, or the Lovers where I'm like loving myself, and um in doing so I become my pure self, and in becoming your pure self you're your authentic self, meaning each connection you make is going to be authentic rather than showing up as your non-authentic self that just sets you up for failure, kind of. I mean, it goes deeper than that, but just to give you a snippet, it's
Yeah,
cool everyone has birth tarot cards.
yeah, I saw that in the back. I said, "Oh, let me ask about this."
Yeah.
What's a big misconception with, like, because you said one of your birth tarot cards was the devil. Like, do the pictures sometimes are kind of intimidating on a lot of these cards?
Especially the Devil card.
Yeah.
The Devil gets a lot of bad rep, I think. But the symbolism behind at least the Rider Waite deck is very it was created by a Black woman and back in the 30s, and it takes a little bit of imagery from the Bible, the Kabbalah, astrology, numerology. um I don't know, it's just so interesting. So it's deeper than just the imagery itself. um it's more like, at least for, okay, so we're talking about the Devil card. The devil often can mean a lot of things. It means that maybe you're manipulating other people, or that you feel that you are being entrapped by, let's say, a corporation or the man, or think like earthly things. When we describe things as evil, you describe or when you call people the devil, it's kind of like, evil tendencies or entrapment, or unable to grow because you're stuck, or you're not seeing things the way they should be because it's coming from a place of ego. The devil rules our ego. The devil rules our selfishness, our gluttony. So when we don't have control of that, we can fall and be not victim. We can fall and be yeah, I guess like the victim. We feel trapped and we can't get out, and we get so used to being in this cycle. And then the Lovers is like, it's free, they're free. And this is the temperance angel, and it's just like the journey is beginning. And it's ironic too, because obviously we all know the story of Adam and Eve and how they bit it to become conscious and awoken. So in a weird sense, it kind of like to me, this card encourage is biting the apple to the unknown, because we need that. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I just get like lost in the tangents.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the Devil card to show you, but
that's great.
so here it is. But you see, it's kind of the same. So
Yeah.
you see the figure. It's an angel. It's a devil here. They're bound here. They're not bound here. They've switched. This is like, this is a little fire tail, and then this is like the forbidden fruit. So a lot of cards, the story of the tarot is like the story of the fool, and it all goes in order. So if you were to look at all the cards in order, you can see, at least with the major arcana, you can see all of the steps of life that you kind of need to go through to get to the very end. So that's kind of how tarot works.
Mm.
But yeah, this
Yeah,
is the
it's
devil
crazy.
card.
It's like, yeah, and then they're entangled there, they're chained up, and
They're
then the other
chained
one
up.
they're free. And these are both your birth cards.
These are both my birth cards. Yeah. So
Hmm.
this is basically like I kind of explained, those are like my internal struggles that I kind of
Yeah.
deal with. And not I'm saying that the devil is a bad card to have. Like every card has a high and low polarity. So
Yeah.
um this could also depending on the question and the reading, like this could be something very positive too.
Yeah. That's amazing. It all goes back to itself. I say that with religion too sometimes, because it's all the same in a weird way. It's all entangled with each other.
Mhm.
Jewish, not Jewish, Christian, Catholic. Praying to one God. If you believe in science, the aliens and all that. So it's powerful how energy has an impact in all of our lives, and we feel it all around us. I really appreciate you taking time to hang out with me and talk and kind
Yeah.
of educate me. Um, I've always believed, and I think this year has been impactful for me. So I'm all about energy and just embracing everything that I've always neglected. And I see you doing the same thing, and we all have struggles. So thank you. You're amazing.
You're amazing. Thank you for like sharing this and opening me up to something I thought I'd never do.
any if you wanted to say anything or to give anybody any insight on what life is, or any tips or encouragement, what would you say to anybody that may have been where you were a year ago?
That I wish I would have known. I guess what I tell my brother all the time or my siblings is like, don't be afraid of your demons, and learn to face them. But like, really face them. Don't just say it.
Hmm.
I think that's something that more people need to be okay with. Be okay when it's not, when you're in your dark, but know that it'll be light again. Embrace it even, and know that it's inevitable to come again. We're all gonna pivot up and down throughout our whole lives. So the more we embed that and the more we try to learn to control that, we're equipping ourselves for the next time we're not going to be feeling 100. And yeah, and don't forget that we're fucking human. So cry more. Please cry more. Be okay with your sensitivity. Be okay with your true self. And if someone doesn't like you, then fucking call me and I'll call them and I'll tell them something. But if not, then tell them to fuck off. Just like do not let people into your energy bubble because it's so precious.
Yeah,
So that's yeah.
that's awesome. I'll tag your stuff, your candles, or I'll tag your Instagram handle on
Yes,
the
thank you.
post, and I look forward to you putting out all these candles, and
Thank
you
you.
know
I had so much fun talking. I feel like I could talk to you forever. This is so fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. So this is the end of the show. Thank you to everybody, anyone listening.
Thanks,
Uh
guys.
I'm Primordial One. This is Primordial Soup, and we're out.
Bye.